And then we come to the chapter of the Izzar of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is what we're going to conclude the physical description of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with. The Izzar of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the waist wrap of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Izzar is a waist wrap. It's a piece of cloth that is a single piece, it's unstitched piece of cloth. It doesn't have leg holes like trousers. And you wrap it around your waist. And this was what the Prophet ﷺ is narrated from wearing. And we said that I didn't come across an authentic narration of the Prophet ﷺ wearing trousers, although there are narrations that indicate the permissibility of doing so. Those are trousers that are worn, the sirwal, that are worn underneath the qamis. I haven't found a narration the Prophet ﷺ wore them, or an authentic one anyway, but I found narration that indicates that it's permissible to do so. And the Prophet ﷺ would wear the Izzar. And the Izzar is the waist wrap. And from this is the first hadith that Al-Imam At-Tirmidhi mentions in this chapter, Babu ma ja'a fi sifati Izzar Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the chapter of what has been narrated to us about the characteristic of the waist wrap, the Izzar of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That Aisha brought out a upper covering that was thick and a thick lower waist covering. And she said the Prophet ﷺ's soul was taken when he was wearing these. So there was a lower waist covering and it was of thick material that he wore ﷺ. And this is one of the things that the Prophet ﷺ wore. And we said that it's not the only thing the Prophet ﷺ wore, but when he died, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, he died wearing a lower garment that was thick. Wa izaran ghalidha. It was made of thick, heavy material. And this is what he died in, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then Imam At-Tirmidhi mentions a number of ahadith prohibiting the Izzar from falling below the ankles. And from this is the hadith, raise up your Izzar, because it is more pious and more lasting. It is more pious and more lasting. And the companion says, then I realized it was the Prophet ﷺ who was saying this to me. I.e., I was walking down the road and somebody said to me, raise up your Izzar because it is more pious and more lasting. And I turned and I realized that it was the Prophet ﷺ. I said, O Messenger of Allah, it is a burda malha. It's a burda, which is the kind of Izzar that came from Yemen that had two colors in it, like a stripe, that was black and white. And it's as though he's saying this is a very humble piece of clothing. It's not the kind of expensive, posh piece of clothing that you would show pride in. And then the Prophet ﷺ said to him, don't you have an example? And he said, I looked at him and the Izzar of the Prophet ﷺ was halfway down his shin.